Hey, Rolling 20 fans, this is G, and I'm here to tell you today about a new sponsor for our show, Casey's Irish Pub. This is an honest-to-God Boston or Chicago-style Irish pub located in downtown Los Angeles. They serve cooked food, 11 kinds of beer, and 49 different Irish whiskeys from 3 different distilleries. Well, what does that mean? That means if you're looking for a good drink during a Los Angeles convention, you don't have to go far. If you're headed to Los Angeles for E3, Comikaze, Anime Expo, the Los Angeles Car Show, or one of the hundreds of events happening near the Staples Center, then a good meal and a glass of Guinness is just a short walk away. Jeremy, the loud guy who won't shut up when we do our own podcast, he actually ate there during the last Anime Expo, and he said this. Forgive me if I don't sound like the guy. I went to Casey's Pub looking for a place to bring people for a good night of food and found it when I was driving people on my way back to the Los Angeles Convention Center. We went back and I had the best steak pot pie in my life down there. My wife had a good whiskey to sip, and 8 of us had fun talking and eating in a place that looked like it belonged in a movie. Casey's just a couple of blocks from the Westin Bonaventure. That means it's close to one of Anime Expo's own shuttle stops. We're even hosting a photo shoot there during the 2014 Anime Expo. If you want more details on that, email us at mspfreight@yahoo.com. Hey, so do yourself a favor. And don't stock up on bad beer and try to mix something sitting at the desk of your hotel room. Ride the elevator, get off at the Bonaventure, and walk to Casey's Irish Pub to get some drinks by their bartenders. Make some new memories and have some fun. We want to see you there.
Hello, everybody. This is Anthony Barnes from Mission Start Podcast. And by the time you're listening to this podcast, it's a Friday, and you're probably at home relaxing and having a good time, which we want you to be.
Bastards.
You heard those voices. With me tonight is Jeremy.
Hey.
And Alexander.
I still don't know what I'm doing here.
We brought you here because we want you to fight to the death, you two. But actually,
It'll be a short fight.
But actually, the reason why they're here is because they went to Comikaze. That was like a week or 2 ago.
Comikaze.
My bad. And they went and checked it out and saw all the cool stuff there and came back to tell us all about it. So, fellas, this is the third time. This is the third convention for Stanley's convention, right?
Fourth, I believe.
Actually, technically, you have to take one of those away because he bought it the second year it was out. So the first year was just Comikaze. The second year was Stan Lee's Comikaze.
Okay,
Right.
gotcha.
And he only bought it because the first year he was a special guest. I guess he just liked it that much, or he's just like, I need a convention. I don't have a convention. I'm going to buy one.
And thus he did. So, oh man, I just totally forgot what I was gonna say. Way to good start for the podcast. What I was gonna ask was, the convention has been like, as far as like numbers wise, like it's been doing pretty good like since it started. Like,
Yeah, it had explosive growth. I think the first year was about 8,000, then it went up to somewhere around 20, and then it hit 45 last year. I still don't know what the numbers are for this year.
right.
Oh, honestly, I think part of that, too, is look at all of the conventions. All of the conventions are having really big growths, especially this last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and part of it, too, with Stan Lee's Comikaze getting so big is it's Stan Lee's Comikaze. This is your Marvel Comic-Con, basically. That's huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
It definitely does help, especially with his name on it and him showing up every year for it, and it does definitely help. But I'm generally surprised because, like, I mean, the thing is, when we hear virtual conventions, like, we generally think of like them starting out, pretty okay, and it may take some time for them to get to, pretty good numbers, but like relatively quickly, like this grew pretty fast in a short amount of time.
Oh, they had a good job in the first couple of years of getting some pretty good guests. Either people you see at Comic-Con on a regular basis, or even a few unusual ones you don't generally see.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's like last year was the first time I had known of Len Wein going to a convention. He's the guy who helped create Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Colossus, and a few of the X-Men that actually made them famous.
Nice. Wow, that's awesome.
Oh, and I think part of that too is, once again, it's kind of their Comic-Con. So I think that kind of helps, because when you have Stan Lee in charge of it, he's kind of got a lot of pull there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, they can bring those more unusual ones in, because they can literally just be like, hey, Stan the man, can you get this guy for us? And they can just be like, I got a favor to call in. We're good.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. So you guys, hang on. Sorry. Oh,
Not in my shoes.
Yeah, you guys were there for a couple of days. So Jeremy, what was the first thing did you do when you arrived at the con?
It was actually kind of intimidating, because the first thing you notice in the central lobby of the Convention Center South Hall is this inflatable 3-story Baymax.
That thing was fucking trippy. I won't lie.
It was cute and everything, but looking up as it's gonna crush me.
Was that to actual size from the movie?
I think it was supersized. I mean, it has the same pant size as I do. I'm pretty sure of that.
That's cool. I saw a couple pictures of that, and people were really digging it. Yeah, wait, that Big Hero 6, did that come out prior or after the con?
Big Hero 6 came out the weekend after.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So they were still in full media mode.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
And the media push has been impressive on that.
Yeah,
They've been everywhere.
definitely. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of advertisement for that. But in terms of back to the con, what were some of the things that you were able to check out when you were there?
I was able to see a clip from the 3D documentary Cosplay Dreamin'. I was able to sit down in the Fat Man on Batman panel with Kevin Smith, Ralph Garman, and Burt Ward.
Nice.
I was down front for a reunion of Power Rangers from a few different generations. And, I saw Stan Lee like 8 frickin' times that weekend. You would almost expect that when he puts his name on it, here I am, I'm opening it, and there I am, there I'm closing it, and I'm done.
Right.
No, he makes like 5-6 announcements during the course of the weekend.
Wow.
It's like he doesn't know how to stop, I think.
It's crazy. I wanted to ask you a question about the 3D photography panel you went to. Like, what was, or 3D cosplayer thing, what exactly was that about?
Somebody has put together a documentary over the lives of 6 cosplayers during, it looks like the course of the year 2013 to 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Just who they are as people, what kind of stuff they go through to get cosplays done, things like that. It's actually much less denigrating than like Heroes of Cosplay or anything that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
We actually decked into their lives, and it's not all of them have expensive cosplay laboratories. Not all of them have well thought out storage spaces for all their stuff. They're people. And they actually seem to make that clear in the 25 or so minutes that they showed at Comikaze.
Okay. That's interesting. That's cool, though. I like it.
Yeah.
And
It was interesting to sit down and watch. They had a panel with the people featured in it afterwards, so you did get a chance to meet them and find out what they're all about.
what was the attendance for the panel?
One thing I was not aware of, did you know that there's a mini theater at the LA Convention Center?
I think.
I'm going to take that as a no.
Wait, you mean like what is it, the Nokia?
No, not the
theater or
Nokia.
something?
There's actually a screening room in the second floor of the convention center. I did not know that before.
Where exactly?
Where has that been hiding my entire life?
I know.
I have no freaking clue.
The hell?
Okay, you know the Skyway Bridge, walking from South Hall to West, right? You're
Yes.
supposed to be walking northbound.
The one that's 90% of the time's closed off.
Yeah.
Or-
On the upper floor, right where it makes a turn, that soft 30-degree bend,
Mm-hmm.
there's a pair of double doors that I've always known of to be closed. It turns out if they open those doors, you walk up some stairs, and then you're in this special, like, mini third-floor screening room.
What the hell? This...
I know, right?
What? Are you
I don't know.
serious? No.
Yeah, just learning about this place makes me more pissed at the SPJA.
Wow.
Seriously, how
How do they not know this?
I don't know.
Or if,
why are they not getting that and just running anime movies
oh my
24/7?
god, can you imagine?
Screw them.
Wow.
You're asking the same questions I asked myself. I was a little bit busy putting on 3D glasses and trying to check out something else.
Wow. That's nuts. Breaking news for all those listening.
News: Anime Expo's staff sucks balls again.
Oh man.
No, but it was a room. They turned down all the lights. They gave everybody those old-fashioned red and blue 3D glasses. They said that won't be the way the 3D is at for the purchase version. You know, it's going to be the new 3D
That's
model.
just the improvised. Hey,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Well, I talked to the director for a couple minutes with another one of my podcast mates, Jesse, and we talked to the director on the convention floor.
Mm.
He was very cool about it, and he showed us an image from an Ultra HD TV. It turns out if you put the disc in an Ultra HD, you can get 3D without any sort of glasses
Oh,
necessary.
you mean like the 4,000 whatever TV?
Exactly. Yeah, those new Sony dealies.
Those things are so damn expensive.
Yes.
Well, he wasn't saying go out and buy one and then
Yeah.
buy my movie. He was just saying, look, we can do
He's
this
just
without
saying,
glasses.
look what we can do.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Fancy.
Look at this
You guys get
technology.
these in the ghettos?
That's cool though.
No, but he was very awesome about it. I actually talked to him about the Rollin' 20 show, and he's interested in doing an interview with us when he has a little bit of time. And you know, it was very amicable. I even sat down and talked for a few minutes with the guy who's putting together the Hollywood Sci-Fi Museum.
Oh shit. Awesome. Holy crap. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's supposed to open hopefully middle of next year is what they're shooting for, I think.
Wow. That's crazy.
He's been to a few conventions because that guy is the one who had been restoring Enterprise bridges and bringing them around to the different comic book conventions and
Oh,
stuff.
no way. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's him.
That's
That's
him.
the guy.
That's the guy. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's cool though. That's pretty sick. Alexander, I know you've been going around taking pictures and photo shoots at Comikaze. Yeah, I said that right?
Kamikaze.
Kamikaze.
Okay,
yeah.
In your walks and travels in the convention, like what was the things that you kind of that stood out to you?
Well, like I said earlier, it's just basically MarvelCon. You see a lot of different Marvel cosplayers out there. You see a lot of good work on it too. It's always fun too because you always find that there's always that one cosplayer that they're like, yeah, I'm actually from the Marvel Universe. And you look at me like, who the fuck are you? And it's some little no-name character that showed up in one episode, like one comic of X-Men, like 20 years ago. And it was like episode 42 or 43, and they're just like, yeah, it was the best character ever. Just like, how do you know? But it's great. I mean, I love seeing cosplayers, you know, showing how much of a nerd they are and showing what they love. I mean, it's great.
Definitely. It's one thing I do enjoy about going to conventions. Like when you go there, your family, not to copy
It's
us.
just like going to the Olive Garden.
You're here, your family.
not to copy.
But you're here, your family. We serve you shitty breadsticks.
That's what you do to your family all the time.
Apparently. I mean, I thought I cooked better than that, but I guess not. Fuck.
What would be the equivalent of breadsticks at a con, Pocky?
Pretty much.
Yeah, it would be, because there's some really shitty Pocky out there.
Or at least
man.
cup ramen or something.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, you're right. It could be. It depends how hungry the person is.
Yeah.
But like any particular like character or cosplay that stood out to you, or was it just kind of in the general as a whole that you were amazed for all these cosplays?
There was a lot that were really cool, right? I mean,
Yeah, there was a bunch that actually stood out to me. There was one couple who brought their kids, and both of them were dressed up in full Jedi robes with lightsabers, and they were freaking adorable.
Oh man, that's so cool.
But I like Comikaze because it is. Some people call it Comic-Con Light. I think that's a well-earned name because this convention is much friendlier when it comes to costumes and cosplaying, and is much more open to people, adventuring with whomever they choose to be.
Awesome. That's really cool. Sweet.
I'm trying to think of any particular, but I had just a whole bunch of stuff buzz by me. I did basically make a new friend at this convention.
Cool.
This guy named Chris M, who was a little bit disappointed because I didn't bring my Luke Cage stuff with me this time around. I was trying to travel light because I didn't have the shoulder days off like I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't bring a whole bunch of costuming stuff. Turns out this weekend he was dressing up as Iron Fist.
Oh, no way. That's sick.
Yeah, so I actually went out to Target, bought a black shirt and a couple bare items, and kludged together a quick Luke Cage shirt.
Sick. That's awesome.
But he was actually kind of cool to talk to because we got into a discussion about comic book cosplays, how often people do them, what we'd like to see, and it sounded like in conversation we're going to try and find enough cosplayers to put together a new Avengers group.
Oh, that's sick. That's pretty cool. Like I said, when it comes to cosplay groups and cosplays, in general, it's just still amazes me to the day to see people dress up in characters that are just you would think.
I will say it's going to sound like bias because he stopped and took pictures for us, but honestly, the outstanding cosplayer I saw had to be Monster Mash.
I agree.
He did this. Yeah, he did this radiation burned Wolverine, which sounded difficult when he put it down to me in paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw him. He looked like he had been in a goddamn war.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it was to the point too, he had fake blood all over him. It was crazy.
Yeah.
When we did the shoot with him, we actually had him lean up against a service door, one of the ones you can just roll up and away, so you can do loading dock stuff. And I actually got a picture of it, and I don't think the pictures are up quite yet. They might be up when this comes out. But I actually snagged a picture, and you can see it on my Facebook page, of this bloody spot where he was leaning up against it. So it was it wasn't just oh, that looks awesome. It's no, he's actually leaking blood all over the place.
I wish it was that subtle. I just remember he got up from that door. The two of you were looking over photos. I look by you at the door and just start laughing myself stupid. And everyone just says, "What?" And there I am pointing at the door.
That is crazy. That is awesome too, though. So so can you tell me, because you talked about the Kevin Smith panel you attended to, what was that all about?
Well, he has this regular, I guess you could say monthly or semi-regular show he does called Fat Man on Batman, where he relives memory just being a fan of Batman. The guy's a tremendous DC fan. And he was supposed to have Adam West on the panel, so we were all excited to get there and everything. But I found out earlier that morning from a reunion panel he was supposed to have that, unfortunately, Adam West took down with the flu during this period. He's not dying or anything, but he is up in years, and it's more than enough to put him down for a little while. So he bowed out of the convention. So instead of Adam West, they brought out Burt Ward, the guy who played Robin during the entire series.
Oh, awesome.
So we listened to him tell stories, and some of it was, it's a Kevin Smith panel, so F-bombs were dropped left and right. It's just kind of interesting because Burt Ward, as old as he is, and he's gained some weight and everything, he still sounds an awful lot like that guy who wore the cape.
Wow.
I mean, to the point where it's almost indistinguishable if you close your eyes. The best part was him telling a story that the Catholic League was getting on his case, or on the case of the TV producers of the Batman 66 show, because he apparently is a very well-endowed human being, and it was very noticeable on TV. So what happened was they sent him to a doctor. I shit you not. They sent him to a doctor who gave him these pills that were supposed to take care of it.
Wow. Wow. What? Really?
Yeah, they gave him pills to shrink his package.
My first question would be is this permanent or temporary?
He wasn't sure, and he admitted that he kept telling him, "Yeah, I'm taking it. he stopped taking it after like a day or so.
Yeah, he's just like, I ain't gonna risk that shit. No.
Yeah.
That ain't me.
You know, I really, when they opened it up for a very short Q&A at the end, because, you know, the stories went long, I really did want to go up to the mic and start asking about Robin's eggs.
Buzzing.
Yeah. In retrospect, I still wish I did it, but kind of glad I didn't.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool though. So to kind of step back a bit in terms of like I know you guys went in as press, but by any chance when you were there, you happened to kind of check out like what was going on in the registration line or like how staff were handling registration this year?
Oh, registration at Comikaze is always very minimal. And when I say that, I mean they always overstaff registration so that the wait is very short.
Except for the first year. Oh, sweet Christ.
Well,
the first year.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first year of any convention is an unfortunate learning process that, you know,
Okay,
we are the guinea
I'm
we're
going
the
to let
guinea
you
pigs.
finish, but the first year I spent 4.5 hours out in the blazing hot sun. You thought Anime Expo was bad this year? This was Anime Expo on crack. Like, it was
Wow.
bad. And it was like literally the line went all the way down past the entrance hall, down the road, back around behind the convention center. Like, we were wrapped around probably a quarter of the building. It was
Yeah, it's not that I don't believe you. I just never experienced that. When I went the first year, I went for a day, and it was Saturday. Things were already running
That's why I was
pretty
there
well.
Friday. It was fucking
Okay.
shit.
Well, this year they had a pretty good process set up. I mean, they had a line outside for registration, but they started it early at 8 a.m.
Oh, okay.
They started exactly when they said they were going to, you know, unlike a lot of other conventions that end up in this building.
Right.
But when they ran it, of course, they processed all the badges and everything, and instead of leaving people sitting around, there's always a bunch of people waiting for the dealer's hall. That's always one of the primary draws of a convention. Instead of just letting them to their devices, they set aside part of the South Hall, part of the space they could be using for dealer space. They set up for an interior line for people waiting to get into the dealer's hall.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So people were actually out of the way.
Okay.
And the line for getting badges was always pretty short. They did a good job of running people through.
Okay. The one thing, you know, it's funny, it's like, out of these years of asking you how your time at the past years at this convention, the one thing that I guess I didn't ask already until now is that how much of the convention are they using compared to other conventions that use the whole thing? Like, is Comikaze using a portion of the convention or the entire thing?
Let's be fair. The biggest convention that I can think of in there is Anime Expo, and they don't use the entire thing, as we just found out.
True.
Let me think. The first year it happened in Kensha Hall, which is that was technically the extra parking to the South Hall. Since then, they've been using the entirety of South Hall at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to use the meeting space above it, as well as the last couple years they started using the meeting space in the hallway of the Sky Bridge. This year is about what that was. They were using the Sky Bridge meeting rooms. They were using the They were using the South Hall. They were using the meeting rooms above it, and they were using it pretty effectively. They had they put up a classic arcade in the South Hall convention space.
Oh, nice.
They brought back all the classic gaming stuff like they had last year, what Jesse called ancient achievements.
Oh, cool.
Let me see. They also had they had everything there pretty much, with the exception of panels. You know, the autograph lines were there, the dealers were there, the artists were there, and it was all still spaced out well enough where they had enough room for that line. And you know, walking around in there, it was tight, but I never felt like it was overly crowded. You could get around with a little bit of patience.
Okay.
So it wasn't the most packed I've ever seen, but it was still a pretty effective use of what they had.
Okay, that's cool. It sounds like they are utilizing the space in very smart ways, and from the sounds of things, it's like it's not completely like filled out completely, like using the entire convention, but they're using just enough for what they need to do for this convention.
Yeah, I wish I had a straight answer for why that is. I don't know if they just happen to charge less, or if because it has Stan Lee's name, they charge more, so they don't need as many what do you call it, as many dealers to make ends meet.
Hmm.
But things just seem to be working out for them relatively positively,
That's
at least as far as organization.
that's true because if you think about it, like some conventions, like big conventions, you kind of have to generally think that they have to use the entire space because of the amount of people that are there. But when it comes to knowing the size of your audience and knowing the size of how much space you're going to be taking, you don't necessarily need to take up the entire convention. You can take up just a portion of it and you'll be fine. So I think that
Yeah, but Alexander touched on the major advantage of this convention in the fact that they call themselves Stan Lee's Comikaze. So automatically, that kind of name attached to it is almost guaranteed he's going to show up at least once, which is going to drag in fans of varying ages just to see the man for a couple minutes.
that's true.
True.
That's very,
Very
true. Yes, indeed.
So, and then if you talk to him, he'll tell you his business partner in the venture is Elvira, which is another one of those names that's just going to bring in people,
Right, right.
no matter what you do.
Right.
So,
So here's my thinking. Like for the next couple of years for this convention's lifespan, or however long Stanley has this going for, like where do you see this convention like in the future, like in say in 5 years? Like is it going to be to a point where it's going to stay the same audience and numbers wise, or will it continue to grow to where it could reach to a bigger numbers, meaning more space used up, or potentially maybe looking at other places because of what we've been hearing about the convention center there being kind of breaking down?
it's you answer that first, Alexander. I've been yammering.
Honestly, I would expect it to outgrow this place within, if it's around, probably the next 5 years. They will probably fill the entire place up to the roof, and here's why. How popular are the Marvel movies nowadays?
Oh, massive, massive.
Exactly. That's all you need. You're bringing in the old and the new fans with just those movies. And since it is it's basically, like I said, Marvel Con, it's Stan Lee's Comikaze. They can, they're going to be able to start bringing in those actors as special guests, start being able to do, their own special. I mean, Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con's always the traditional, like, big announcement for movies and things like that. But I would be very surprised once they start getting bigger if they don't hold off or announce earlier than, because the timing is that Comikaze is technically after San Diego Comic-Con, but it depends on how you want to look at it. But we'll say after San Diego Comic-Con for announcements about, certain things about upcoming movies, things like that, maybe new IPs coming out, stuff like that, and save it for themselves. And especially when you're going to be able to say, hey, you work for us, go to this convention, you're going to be the artist on this comic, and we want you to be there when we announce it. I mean, that could be a huge draw, especially for the Comic-Con, for the comic nerds.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree with him. In 5 years, this could be a very major force in the convention circuit. It was kind of odd that this year, honestly, I felt like it was a step backwards. Jesse and I spent a little while discussing the possibilities as to why, because it just didn't feel as energetic or as packed as it was in prior years. One theory is that because it was delayed a little bit, it ended up on Thanksgiving weekend of all weekends.
Oh, I see.
Which for cosplayers, that's like Mardi Gras.
Right.
And there were a couple other things going on. It felt like that the guest list was not quite as impressive as it had been in years past.
Wait, Thanksgiving weekend?
Not Halloween weekend, sorry.
Okay. I was going like, wait a fucking minute now.
I know. I'm sorry. I got a little.
I was
a little
confused.
Bit,
I'm going like, did I lose like 3 weeks of my life?
Yes, you did. Welcome to the future. No, it was Halloween weekend, which is typically very busy for cosplayers. So it just felt like the things had taken a, I don't know about step back, at least a side step. It might have been a year of low to no growth for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they pushed it back like 1 week, I think it would have been better received.
Probably. In this case, it was back about 2 to 3 weeks from their usual time frame, and I think that had to do with an administration issue.
Yeah.
I noticed before they announced their dates that there were no dates in October really available outside of Halloween.
Yeah, there was also, though this is I'm not going to say that this caused low attendance, but there was also a thing. There was a cosplayer who actually got married that weekend. So, and I know a couple of cosplayers who actually went to that wedding that could have played a small amount into it, because I do know.
Didn't he get married at the convention?
No, they did not. They had a pirate.
They had a
wedding.
Oh, okay.
It was a pirate-themed wedding.
Yeah, there was a wedding at the convention too.
I wouldn't doubt that. But I mean, so there. I mean, like for example, I'm good friends with Missy Ro. She went to there. She showed up at SummerCon, which happened to fall on the same weekend as well, and she was there for a little while before she left, and she was gone, like unavailable the rest of the weekend because she was, going to her friend's wedding.
That's another thing too that kind of, as you mentioned it, like, Summoners Con was the same weekend as Comikaze?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that could have added to that too as well. And Summoners Con was a League of Legends convention.
Yep.
First Hello Kitty Con was technically the same weekend as well.
Was it really?
Yeah, but nobody's paying attention to that shit.
Wait. First of all, there's a Hello Kitty Con, and second.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I did not
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
First ever was this past Halloween weekend. Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
I don't know why, but whatever.
Yeah, well, you say that, I say the same thing about brony cons, man. I mean,
Okay, that
I
just
don't get that
confuses the hell out of me.
The other thing I wanted to ask, and the thing is though, that it always makes me curious. It's like, which companies come to said convention to showcase their newest stuff, or showcase like whatever they're selling. Who was there at the dealers hall for this year?
Let's see. A lot of it was a lot of the dealers you're used to. ABC Toy for Me. I think Top Cow had a booth actually. They're a third-party vendor. Not third-party. They're just not one of the big two.
Right.
Image Comics was there. I know that for sure. So there wasn't a whole lot of people making debuts, like Alexander said. A lot of people were either resellers or they're smaller press, really trying to break into the markets.
I see. So it's nothing too outlandish, but at the same time, like kind of the same old type of deal.
Yeah, that's probably the one thing missing from Comikaze is that there are no big announcements made at the convention that I'm aware of at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like huge announcements made. They do make some announcements, but it's not like the earth-shattering stuff that we're used to from, say, San Diego Comic-Con.
Or New York Comic-Con.
Or New York Comic-Con occasionally. Not as often. But every now and then New York gets something.
Right.
But no, like I said, I mean, I would be very surprised if, within the next 5 years, they're not big enough where they can justify holding off on those announcements until they have their convention.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I definitely agree on that. In terms... So, you kind of touched on a bit earlier, Jeremy, in the announcement that Stan Lee made. Which particularly did he like made during that weekend?
He made a few. There's a live journal contest to find Stan Lee's biggest fan. I forget what the prize was in that. He also made an announcement that he had teamed up with Yoshiki of X Japan, and they're producing a new graphic novel called Blood Red Dragon. About a musician who develops some kind of abilities and starts fighting crime.
I remember seeing a picture that you put on the Facebook feed for MSP, and I was thinking to myself, like, what exactly are they teaming up to do? Because I was like, wow, it's a cool combination, but it's like, what exactly was their project? So, okay.
Yeah, there is a point where you got to say, okay, this is awesome. Why the hell are you here?
Yeah.
But no, it was really weird to see that announcement because I was in the second row of people as Yoshiki and Stan Lee are standing on the stage. And I got to admit, that's a lot like... God, what's the right way to put it? It's like having both Zeus and Odin standing on the stage at the same time.
Yeah. Wow.
But by the time it was done, Stanley left the stage fairly promptly, and Yoshiki came up and started signing all kinds of things, and there he is, basically bending over, signing things, and he's almost hanging over my head as he's got those Bono sunglasses and this big smile on his face, and I'm a little bit aghast.
Wow, that's cool though.
And as he's signing things, I'm just standing in the middle, and I don't quite know what to do because I don't have anything to sign, and I'm okay with his music. Not necessarily a super fan, but just because I have man boobs doesn't mean I want him signed. But I told him, I appreciate your music, and he said, thank you. And all of a sudden that made like the 3 girls standing around me all go, we appreciate your music.
It's like, hey, I like your music. We love you. Shut up, woman. I'm talking.
It's like he said 2 words. It's like he said 2 words to this guy. How do we make him say 2 words to me?
Because they want him to notice them. That's why. You got them jealous.
I guess.
So one of the things I also noticed in some of the photos, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Stanley's birthday that day or that weekend, or?
No. It wasn't Stanley's birthday. There was another announcement of a show that had to do with a guy from Cake Boss. I don't know his name.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm not in the professional baking world. This I could recognize him by face. I know he's got several cake mixes in the stores these days.
Mm-hmm.
But as part of his show and as part of another announcement, he brought out a cake that was about 7 feet tall of the Hulk.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, got pictures of that thing as well. And it was one of those things where they brought it out. I must have been about 20, 30 feet away from it, and I could smell the sugar coming off this thing.
God damn.
And, when you're a guy trying to lose weight, that's like bringing out crack and laying it right in front of an addict and saying, don't touch. No, you want to. Don't touch.
Stay.
And even worse, because I'm not a typical nerd. I know this, but I was standing around a lot of other nerds, and all I could hear is, and suddenly I feel unsafe,
Wow. And not only that, like, this cake must be huge. Like, it is like...
Oh, God, yeah. It was heavy. And after they were done, they didn't wheel it back out behind the convention center. No, they put it in the Stan Lee Museum in the middle of Comikaze.
Wait, what?
I'm like, fuck y'all.
Wait, what? They put it in the museum? They're not going to...
They put it in the Stan Lee Museum. I'm staring at this thing just going, you really shouldn't have this here, man.
Like, what's to stop somebody from, like, getting a piece out of the Hulk?
A velvet rope and a chain. Literally, that's all there is stopping people from trying to jump this thing.
I would...
But we all respect Stanley too much.
That's true. I would figure that maybe they might be serving cake to, to some people, but, like, okay. I mean, like, it's cool, art piece-wise. Yeah.
Let's be honest, too. We all have that kind of faint fear that, maybe some of these superheroes are actually real and they're going to come kick our ass if we fuck with Stan Lee.
That's true.
I don't know. There was a Lobo there I did want a box.
Wow. Awesome. Was there anything else you were able to check out when you were there, Jeremy?
I walked through the Stanley Museum briefly. It didn't have a whole lot of new pieces compared to last year. I got into a short conversation with Eric Roberts.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
He was there doing autographs, and it was one of those things where he didn't have a line in front of him. And it's not that I felt bad, but he saw me, with my press badge taking short measure of people, had a camera, and he just said, so, how you doing? And, I feel obligated to stop and talk at that point. It's salesmanship for crying out loud, I know. But,
Right. Gotcha.
There was that. John Barrowman from Doctor Who was the guest of the convention.
Oh, wow.
What's the lady that played Case from Firefly? She played... all of a sudden I'm all messed up with names.
Right.
The engineer on the ship.
Oh, gotcha.
Kaylee? Is it Kaylee?
The one who played the engineer. Kaylee, yeah, she was there.
Oh.
I'm surprised I actually remember that.
I usually do, but I'm a little bit flabbergasted for some reason right now. I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but I know she was at the con.
Okay. Cool.
It was a lively freaking weekend. You never seem to have a great idea, even though you had the schedule, as to what could occur because of whatever minor shifts might occur with whomever's schedule. Mm-hmm. It was interesting to see Edward James Olmos out on the stage with an Obi-Wan beard. He was out there for the 10-year anniversary for the Battlestar Galactica TV series, the second one.
Oh, cool. Wow. That must have been a little off-putting to see that.
It was weird to see it, man, but there's something about every time he shows up, he's going to do it, but when he starts chanting "So Say We All," it's like half the room just wants to do it with him.
That's awesome.
If I can sidetrack it a little bit, Comikaze does something that I haven't seen other conventions do, but I wish they would.
Mm-hmm.
Their main panels take place on the main stage, which they put at the back of the dealer's hall.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is just absolutely brilliant.
How so?
Because it maximizes the exposure of whoever they put on that stage at a given time. Okay, that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, it also entices you to go back in the dealer's hall several times, even though you may be all shopped out or convinced you can't spend money right now, but really, really want to. they now give you a good reason to go back through the dealer's hall from back to front to try and get to whatever panel you're trying to view. So they give you a second chance to buy, even though you're not there for that purpose.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. You know, as somebody who tries to save money at these conventions, it's a dirty, dirty trick.
Yeah.
But when you're staring at the science of conventions and the layout of this room, it's freaking brilliant.
That is interesting. That is a very interesting thing because, like, normally what we're used to, instead of attending other conventions, is like panels are usually held in their own rooms, and kind of away from the hustle of the main convention. But having it
right, and 95% of their panels are the same way. But that means that they brought out their marquee stars, their Burt Wards, you know, their not Weird Al Yankovic, he wasn't here this year. Edward James Olmos, Stan Lee 3-4 times, you know, Yoshiki. They were all out there in the convention center or in the dealer's hall, accessible to anybody who decided to take the 5 minutes to walk to the back to the main stage.
I still have a poster I need to get signed by Stan Lee.
I still have.
Sorry.
No,
I went to an opening and I donated money and I won a free poster from the Spider-Man reboot.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah,
the new one, like not the second movie, but the first movie, and I want to get it signed and framed.
Yeah,
because
it costs $60. If you go to some place that Stan Lee is, it'll cost you $60 to get a signature.
But that's actually cheaper than normal pricing. Because I've actually looked into it. If he goes to San Diego Comic-Con, big if, it can run you anywhere from $80 to $120.
Depending on what booth is running the signature, that is true.
Like, I think the first year for Comikaze, they actually worked out an agreement where he was doing it for free.
Wow.
Oh, wish I'd known that.
Damn.
Yeah, right?
That's crazy.
Right? Like, I could have signed it and fucking sold it for like $400.
Yeah, no kidding.
I still got to meet.
You know,
yeah. Oh, go ahead, sir.
I spent the money at WonderCon last year to get $1,400. I got $1,400 worth of signatures out of a company because, you know, I was trying to get as many artists and writers as possible, but I also got Stan Lee's because, not to sound cruel, the man is like 91.
I know. I feel the same. God, I still got to meet the guy. I still got to meet the man too. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the Instagram video I put up of how close I got to him by accident?
Yeah, I saw that. You were literally inches away from the man.
I shared an elevator with Stan Lee once. It was awkward.
Oh, was it?
Because I didn't know what to say.
Well, when
like, I made it awkward.
I was about to say, when you went in for the kiss, that was probably what was awkward.
Well, I tried to do that, and then security kind of got in the way, and you know, one thing led to another, and all of a sudden I'm making out with security, and Stan Lee's just watching.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, man, fingers crossed though. Like,
that may have been another thing that held back the convention this year, is that it's been going through such exponential growth. I think they've hit the point now where they're starting to, you know, push the edges of the seams of the area they've carved out in the convention center. They need to figure out how to get it a little larger without spending a whole lot of money.
yeah.
You know, they had the Marvel cosplay gathering on Saturday, and it was actually moved because the fire marshal raised a bitch.
Well,
at least I should say they say the fire marshal raised a bitch. The people that moved us were not Comikaze staffers. They were LACC staffers who, as you know, are one of the biggest pains in the ass in the convention circuit.
oh yeah, definitely. Okay. Speaking of gatherings, how was that, by the way?
That was interesting. There was a lot of people there at the beginning, and it was starting out well. But you know how it is when a gathering is forcibly moved. All of a sudden, you know, a third of the cosplayers drop off.
Yeah,
because they don't want to deal with the hassle.
Once you move it, all bets are off on how many people are going to show up.
Yeah. Well, it was moved like after the first couple photos were taken, which is even worse because people lose patience rather quickly after that.
Yeah, I personally, as a photographer, I don't go to any kind of gathering for pictures. If I go to a gathering, it's there to see friends and say hi, things like that. But I don't actually go and try and take pictures because it's impossible. If you've ever been to a cosplay gathering of anything that's even remotely popular, it's like 50 photographers in front of, you know, like 20 people at a time. There's no room.
Yeah.
And I do need to give a shout out to a couple ladies, and I know one of them is using the screen name Abby Normal. The other one has not given me a screen name yet. She was still setting up her Facebook. They actually followed me off the convention center for a couple blocks to take photos.
Ah, that's really cool. Wow.
Which, it doesn't sound like much to those people listening, but I am 37 and heavy set and a little thuggish looking. So people tend to give me a wide berth when I ask for things. And, you know, after we were done, I thanked them and they said that it was no problem. I was surprisingly non-creepy and they'd be willing to do it again. And, you know, that's a sideways compliment, but I'll take it.
Right. That's cool though. Like I definitely respect that. I was gonna ask you guys. So during that weekend, what was your main source of food? Like, what was your go-to food place to go get your munchies on?
You're gonna hate this. My kitchen.
Oh.
Dick.
Yeah.
No, not my kitchen at home. I mean,
Yeah,
my
I know.
kitchen.
I saw the picture.
Yeah, I went to the Residence Inn, which is a group of mini suites.
Mm-hmm.
The standard
That's right,
room is
yeah.
what I stayed in. The guy tried to upgrade me, but it was a standard room. The room had place settings for 4. It had a breakfast bar. It had a couch with a lounge, with a chase lounge. It had a small coffee table and a desk and beds, and it had a full fridge. A full refrigerator with a freezer.
Nice.
It even had this list that was taped to the door that said on it, fill out this list and have it, and if you fill it out by 9 a.m., we will fill it by the following day.
Oh my god, it's so cool. Oh.
I mean, I'm staring at this list just wondering, so how detailed does this get? And it says, ice cream. Please be sure to fill out brand as well as flavor.
Oh my god. That is, man.
And again, I'm staring at this going, don't give crack to an addict.
See, that's when you need me, and I'm just gonna jump on like the internet and be like, I'm gonna get some crazy shit.
Well, they will charge the cost of getting this stuff to the room. They said that also on the paper.
Please. I would totally I would put some crazy shit in there. Like I
You would
want.
have broken my goddamn credit card.
No, I would have paid you. I would have paid for it, but I would have been like, I want fresh ramen, authentic fresh ramen, blah blah, like just crazy out there shit. Like, let's see them actually come up with this.
Give me this.
Bring me buckwheat noodles rolled on the thigh of a 16-year-old
Exactly.
virgin.
Like you want to be like, be precise. I will be super precise.
See, I want you to go to Mount Mordor, and I want you to get the bucket of ice cream that's sitting right on top of the shelf. Yeah, there you go.
No, dude, this hotel was actually awesome. I know it opened in about the last 8 months, and the first day I get there, it's like 7 a.m. on a Friday, and I said, I know I'm super freaking early, but I just drove in fast and everything, and here's my stuff. You'll let me know when a room is ready? And the guy said, oh, sure. And he types in all my information. He says, here's your stuff back. Thank you. And your room is ready. What? So I go, and as I'm dropping off my stuff, he says there's a continental breakfast on the second floor. I think you're in time for it. And I said, great. So I drop off my stuff, go down to the second floor. Can't figure out how to open the door. I go back down to the first floor, and I said, I think I'm doing something wrong. The guy actually got out from behind the desk, took me back up to the second floor, and showed me how to work the doors.
Oh, wow.
It was. Here's the secret. It was a pull, not a push.
No, it wasn't that. They have they have second generation keys and key locks. You know how the keys to hotels are typically magnetic strips?
Mm-hmm.
They're using the new RFID keys.
Ooh, nice.
So there was I wasn't familiar with the locks there. There are these flat pads on the walls next to the doors, and you got to swipe your card in front of the lock.
Ah, okay. Huh.
There's the same thing for the rooms too. I never had to actually insert my keys in anything. I just kind of had to get it close to this pad on the door, and it would open the door for me. It's like that step in between what we heard about, where you're supposed to be able in the next couple of years to check into your room with your cell phone.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. Oh fuck,
Yeah.
The future's coming.
Yeah, I mean this. My only bitch about the hotel, and it's a relatively minor one. There's no hot tub.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, after 2-3 days walking around, you could really use a hot tub. This place doesn't have one.
Yeah, I know, right, man. See, the thing is, though, is like, for somebody who goes to conventions, I mean, all of us do, but like having a hot tub, like on the last day or like on a night, just it really does wonders, and like definitely helps, especially between days. So yeah, I hate it.
It helps the relaxation. It's a good icebreaker too when you're at a convention with 30,000 other people you don't know. All of a sudden you're sitting across from this person in a Wonder Woman bikini just going, I like that series.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Overall thoughts, guys, on this year's Comikaze?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Like I said, it felt like there was a sideways or backward step taken this year, but there's still a tremendous amount of growth for this convention. A lot of people show up, a lot of cosplayers show up. It has the commerce ability of Comic-Con, but the more fan-friendly vibe to it. You can actually get around and do what you want instead of hoping people aren't trampling you for some ridiculous convention exclusive.
Cool.
So I would actually say that this is a lot of fun, and I hope it sticks around for years, and I hope it finds the last bit of footing it's looking for.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I honestly believe this thing will grow out of control. In the next 5 years, they're going to be looking for somewhere else to go. I don't know what they're going to find, because I don't think there's anything in the vicinity that's any closer than San Diego that's bigger. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't done the research because I'm lazy. But yeah, I honestly think it's going to grow a lot, like a scary amount. And I honestly think that it could easily, if they market it right and they actually pushed it, it could rival Comic-Con. It could be the new contender. Simply because, I mean, there's so many comic book geeks out there that want a comic book convention. This is more focused on comics than it is anything else. Yes, there's movies there. Yes, there's anime there, but that's kind of standard crap. It's not focused on them. Like San Diego Comic-Con used to be about comics. Now it's about whatever the hell they feel like putting in there. I've stopped paying attention. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see it grow within the next 5 years to the point where they are filling that convention center and possibly looking to move it someplace else just because they have to. Or maybe they'll just figure out a way to branch out in that same area. Who knows?
Well, hopefully the convention center will still be a viable place soon. I've been hearing that... I've been hearing that the expansion project is actually being put back in motion.
Oh, okay. What?
And the NFL stadium project in particular. It's being put back in motion. There's actually more than one team interested in moving at this point.
Well, here's a funny thing too, because I live in San Diego. For those who don't know, so I've been following the San Diego Comic-Con and the convention center not being big enough for San Diego Comic-Con issue.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent news I've heard about that is that they are talking about building a football stadium down by the convention center, and actually, in some kind of way, attaching the convention center to the football stadium.
What?
So they can use that as overflow for conventions.
That is crazy, and that is awesome at the same time.
I mean, can you imagine, like, yeah, we've got this mile-long convention center that goes out to the water, and we have the football stadium. Where do you want to go?
Well, it's one of a few projects and ideas, and it seems almost inevitable that part of the convention center is going to be knocked down for a couple of years. If they don't get the stadium deal, they are still talking about expanding the convention center by rebuilding the West Hall into a continuous hall with the South Hall and building a hotel on that block.
Which I think is actually a really good idea as well.
Agreed.
I think,
as much as I like football, it's probably a better idea than the stadium, frankly.
Honestly, as a tax-paying citizen in the city, I don't like the idea of a stadium because, honestly, our football team's looking for us to pay a stadium. I think it's a great idea as a photographer because it gives me so many different options depending on how open they make the stadium. But it could, I mean, if we could go down into the seats, can you imagine, like, all these, sports animes, go down into an actual fucking football stadium and take photos there?
That is nuts.
Like, that would be awesome.
Yes.
That's great. Like, you can't get a better location unless it's like a basketball anime and you are literally in, like, the Staples Center.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it doesn't get better than that opportunity.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It's really cool. I mean, the idea is cool. Although I do feel like I agree with you, Alex, where maybe having more than expansion for a hotel than a football stadium would be probably better. But the idea of using a football stadium for photo shoots and pictures would be fucking awesome.
It's like one of those things, like, as a person, I think making one continuous hall is a better idea. It gives you more options overall, period, because the only other time we really use that convention center anyways is during the boat shows.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really cool idea because, I mean, it's famous for its mile-long dealers hall. That's what it's well known for. Like, it has the biggest dealers hall, period. End of discussion. I haven't heard of a single convention that can rival it. And if you're going to extend out even further, dear Lord.
The power of all that.
I do declare I have the papers.
And with that, I'd like to thank you guys for joining me tonight to talk about your time at Comikaze, among other things tonight. Before we go and you guys venture off into your weekend, Jeremy, where can they find you on the internet?
I have a regular podcast called the Rollin' 20s. It's been a little irregular lately, but I've had some personal stuff going on. You know, kids, trip to Disneyland, blah, blah, frickin' blah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I'm also on cosplay.com under the screen name Freight, and I am actually a staffer at Anime Los Angeles, which happens, I think it's on the weekend of January 9th this year.
It's usually the first weekend of the year.
It's January 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the card right here. So January 9th to 11th. Cool. Awesome. Alex, where can they find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find me everywhere. As always, you can find my work on Mission Start Podcast, pretty much any of the conventions I go to. If you want to know which conventions I've gone to or am going to, the best ways to find that out are probably on my Facebook page, Capture Photography. You can also follow me on Instagram at Capture_photography, Twitter at Capture Photog, or you can find me on Tumblr at Capture Photography.
Awesome. And for me, you can follow me on Twitter at The Effective Naruto. You can follow the work that me, Alex, and Jeremy do along this podcast on website at missionstartpodcast.com. You can follow the work that we all do in terms of reviews, previews, all that stuff on our website. Also, while you're listening to this, please go check out Desert Bus for Hope 8, which is happening right now or it should be happening at 5 o'clock on Twitch. And definitely give those guys a look on their week-long marathon to help raise money for children. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we are actually sponsors for the event. So yeah, definitely go check those guys out. They're pretty cool. Anyways,
For the kids!
for the kids, yes.
Do it, faggot!
Won't someone think of the children?
I think they taste delicious. I mean, never mind.
And with that, I think we'll see you guys next time.
Unless we're arrested.
God damn it, Alex.